you for joining us today. This is Janie Knipe with Knipe Land Company. We are here today to talk to you about land values in the Northwest from 2018 and how they compared to land values in 2017. On average, land values increased by $60 per acre from 2017 to 2018. There were some varying regional changes. In the Pacific states, they increased by 3.4%, while in the Northern Plains states, they decreased by 1.4%. The Pacific states saw the highest values at $5,500 per acre, while the Mountain states' lowest value was at $1,140 per acre. This chart shows us the graduation of values from 2014 to 2018. As you'll see in Idaho, it's changed from $2,360 in 2014 to $2,700 in 2018, whereas you see a much lesser change in, say, Wyoming from $630 to $680. In the Pacific states, you see Oregon has changed from $2,050 to $2,370, whereas California has started at $7,300 and has moved up to $11,740. You'll see that it has been an upward movement for the farm real estate market since 2004. We will now break down the values by types of land, starting with cropland. Overall values were unchanged at $4,130 per acre. The Pacific region increased by 3.2%, while the Mountain region increased by 1.7%. As you will see in this graph, the cropland values have more than doubled in the last 14 years. The following graph shows cropland by state. You will see in the Northwest that in 2018, the average price per acre in Idaho was $3,520. Montana was $1,030, and in Wyoming, $1,350. This is an average by the state. For example, in southwest Idaho, the average price per acre is closer to double. In the Pacific states, the average in Oregon is $2,930, while in California, it's $11,740. Now moving on to irrigated and non-irrigated cropland averages. As you will see, the irrigated cropland is much higher than the non-irrigated cropland, and this is due to the ability to grow more diverse crops with irrigation. You will also see in Idaho, that brings the irrigated ground up to $5,350 per acre, which is more in line with what we see in southwest Idaho. You'll also see a big difference between the irrigated and non-irrigated in all the other states as well. Now looking at the Pacific region, you will notice that there is the same differences in Oregon, Washington, and California. Moving on to pasture land values. Values have increased on average. In the Pacific states, the highest increase was in Oregon at 1.4%, and in the Mountain states, it was in Idaho at 3.7%. The average per acre pasture land in the Northwest ranged from $1,350 to $510 in 2018, and in the Pacific region, pasture land ranged from $710 to $2,700. As this graph shows, pasture land has also more than doubled in the last 14 years in value. Now we will move on to information that we have gathered about sold farms and ranches and land throughout the Northwest. We looked at 3 states, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington, and looked at all sales that were 40 acres and larger. As you will see, in Idaho, the inventory increased by 40%, and the solds increased by over 100%. In 2017, 1 in 3 properties sold that were on the market, and then in 2018, 1 in 2 properties sold that were on the market. In Oregon, we see an even stronger market. In 2017, 70% of those available sold. In 2018, almost 90% sold that were available. There was 100% more available on the market in 2018, with 40% more sales than in 2017. In Washington, we see an even larger increase. In 2018, 319 properties were available, whereas only 67 the year before. That was a 376% increase. As you can also see, there was a huge increase in sales as well. The trends we are seeing is that supply is up. as well as demand. On average, the supply has increased by 172%, and demand in the Northwest for farmland is up 230%. And with that, prices in the Northwest are somewhat higher as well. We also see that the average age of a farmer and rancher has risen 20% in the last 30 years, which means with the aging ownership, there will be more people looking to sell because of age or inability to continue running their operations. Oregon State University did a study and predict that 7 in 10 farms and ranches will sell or trade in the next 10 years. Mary Swander with Map of My Kingdom, who has studied what will be happening in the land market, stated 1 out of 2 farms and ranches will sell or trade hands in the next 5 to 7 years. If all these predictions are right, it may do an owner well to think about putting some or all of their property on the market now while we still have higher prices. There are many reasons why a farmer or rancher may want to sell their property. One might be to use those funds for their retirement. One might be to sell that property and buy property that their heirs will want to hold on to for future generations. And one might be that you have no heirs to pass the farm on to, or your heirs are not interested in continuing to farm or ranch. Whatever the reason, estate planning becomes an important aspect when selling. Knipe Land Company has been doing 1031 tax-deferred exchanges for over 30 years and are well versed in it and can help you through this process. Over the years, we have worked with many landowners to help them accomplish their real estate goals, whether it be to expand or to contract. There are several things that a tax-deferred 1031 exchange can do for you. It can reduce family disagreements. For example, you could sell the ranch, and then you could buy a piece of property that interests each one of your heirs. You could move to passive income. You could sell the ranch and move to a commercial building that provides you income or other types of passive income. And with all of that, you also are able to defer your taxes at the same time. In conclusion, right now, demand is high for land, inventory is growing, and the land markets in the Northwest are strong. That said, estate planning is essential when deciding what you're going to do with your land. I thank you for coming, tuning in, and hope to see you again next year.